Thanks for watching this video. Listen, it's been a tumultuous couple of days. You and I both cast our vote. We had the election, and now we have this whole drama, if you will, about alleged voter fraud. We see things that the Trump team is doing in the courts. We see how the courts are reacting to them. What are we supposed to do? Well, friends, I appreciate you watching this video because there's actually some actions that we must take, need to take, and to take that right away immediately. But more on that in just a few moments. The reason we put this video together is because I know that you care deeply about health freedom. You feel that you should have the say in what you and your children get vaccinated with. You must have the say in how you govern your own and your family's medical care. And that's what we're going to talk about here for the next few minutes. And I'm delighted to have Dr. Andrew Wakefield. He is a pioneer and an expert on the topic of health freedom. Dr. Wakefield, thank you for being with me here on this video for a few minutes. For those of people that are watching this video that do not know who you are, could you please share a few words about your background?
Sure, Raj. It's a great pleasure to be with you here in these confusing and somewhat troubled times. I am a physician turned filmmaker. I came from the United Kingdom, where I graduated in medicine in 1981, and I became an experimental gastroenterologist. And I was faced with a challenge in 1995 of mothers coming to me and saying my child was fine until they had this vaccine. I was told it was safe. It wasn't safe. My child now has autism. We saw an explosion of this, of a disease when I was at medical school we weren't even taught about because it was so rare. And so I became more and more involved in this. I was told that if I pursued this vaccine safety research, it would not be good for my career. My training in medicine was to put the concerns and the well-being of the patient before anything else, and that is what I chose. That led me to coming to America in what was political and professional exile after I was effectively hounded out of my position by the media, by the pharmaceutical companies, by the public health officials, and by my own medical school. So I came to this country like a man looking at America as an oasis in a scientific desert, somewhere where freedom was cherished, where I could continue this work, and where I could make a difference to rectify some of what I perceived to be a moral and professional injustice inflicted on children because they were denied true informed consent about the risks and benefits of mandatory childhood vaccine.
And Dr. Wakefield, you and I both have that in common. I'm not in the medical space, but I grew up in Africa, and the countries I grew up in, government mandated how everything went. The rights of the individual were really not a topic that people spoke about because we really didn't have those kinds of things that we have here in America. But you have come here, you have paid a great price professionally and personally for your commitment to health freedom for people. And for people who haven't heard the term health freedom, could you share a little bit about what does health freedom mean?
Certainly. Health freedom really found some clarification of definition following the experience of doctors in Nazi Germany experimenting on people without any notion, any question of informed consent. People had no rights whatsoever. They were usurped by the Nazis and they were experimented on and discarded. And of course, following that barbaric experience, the Nuremberg Accords, the Nuremberg Codes were laid down. And in essence, what we had is the rule, clear rule, the understanding that people should never be subjected to medical experimentation without fully informed consent, that people had absolute rights to say what was done to them, how it was done, and they were entitled to an explanation of all of the risks and all of the benefits in as far as they are known.
That you are an advocate for the individual having a right and a say to how their own and your treatment commitment and their children is for that to actually occur, where people have a transparency and choice and a say in the matter. And I know from our conversations Dr. Wakefield,
interview is
that
not
you
about
are an
one
advocate
candidate
for
over
the
the other.
individual having
This
a right
interview
and a
is
say
about
to
what you,
how
the
their
person watching this video,
own
can and must do to
treatment
stand up for
for themselves
transparency,
and their children and their families
authenticity, and
conducted.
accuracy
And so
in
I
the
want to
voting
change
process.
gears here
So with
because
that in the background,
we're having this
Dr.
interview
Wakefield,
here today
based on what both
because
candidates have
of the
publicly said, none of this is a
political
secret.
situation
What
that we
would
find
a
ourselves
Biden
in.
presidency look like,
And
contrasted with the
this
Trump
interview
presidency
is
for the next
not
4 years
about one
in the
candidate
space
over
of
the
health
other.
freedom and
This
the topic
interview
you just
is about
mentioned,
what you,
about
the
what health
person
freedom
watching
means.
this video, can and must do to stand up for transparency, authenticity, and accuracy in the voting process. So with that in the background, Dr. Wakefield, based on what both candidates have publicly said, none of this is a secret, what would a Biden presidency look like contrasted with the Trump presidency for the next 4 years in the space of health freedom and the topic you just mentioned about what health freedom means?
Right. What we face now is an experience with a new coronavirus, COVID-19 being the disease that people are experiencing. And we are faced with the prospect of being given vaccines, experimental vaccines that have shortcut all of the standard safety studies that have been rushed to market. And we are now being told that we are faced with mandatory vaccination for vaccines in a form that have never, ever been given to humans before. Indeed, some of them are not even vaccines. They are genetic engineering. They are not, by definition, vaccines, and yet that is how they are being sold to the public. Now, where do we stand as far as the respective candidates go, or those who stood for office as president? If we have a Biden presidency, he has already said, when I get to the White House, there will be a complete lockdown until such time as we have mandatory vaccination for everybody and we get this country back to normal. So with the Biden administration, it will be mandatory vaccination of these rush-to-market experimental vaccines, never been used in humans before.
The choices or the outcomes between a Biden presidency and a Trump presidency
that is like a Jurassic Park that is about to escape the island.
Shared it in a very
President Trump, on the other hand, has said no.
And so
these vaccines will be rushed to market. They will be made available as quickly as possible, but they will be for those who want them and only those who want them. There will be no mandatory vaccination. So that is the situation. Irrespective of which candidate you support, if you support health freedom, the right to make choices about bodily autonomy is one that you cherish, for you and your family,
to take some specific
then there is no question.
If you didn't quite hear what Dr. Wakefield said, stop right now, rewind this.
It's very clear, folks, if you're watching this video, that the choices or the outcomes between a Biden presidency and a Trump presidency are very different. Dr. Wakefield has shared it in a very clear and succinct way. And so it is now incumbent upon you and I, the people. I want to emphasize this. Remember, I was not born in this country. I came here. I'm a guest in your country. I'm a U.S. citizen now. But here's the thing I want to urge you. The freedoms and, more importantly at this point, the responsibilities that we the people have in keeping our fragile democracy of this republic alive lie with us, not with Trump, not with Biden or any other individual. So I want to urge you to take some specific actions. If you didn't quite hear what Dr. Wakefield said, stop right now, rewind this, play this back. He said some very troubling things. He said some very clear things. There's a lot at stake here. And you and I have both seen how our inaction allows an agenda to go from a concept to reality in days. So we got to put a stop to this. So what are the actions to take? Because I know you're an action taker and you're like, okay, enough of this, Raj. Tell me what to do. Well, here it is. Here's what I need you to do. There's a link on this website here, on this video. It's either above, below, or sideways, depending on what you're looking at this. Click the link. What will that link provide you? It'll provide you with the 6 states here in the United States. We don't have to contact it. It's 6 states. And in those 6 states, we have identified the elected officials. I need you. In fact, you need you to contact those elected officials with a very specific request. That request is, please do a signature audit of the ballots. Again, it's not about Trump or Biden. We just want transparency, authenticity, and accuracy in the ballot process. Please do a signature audit. There's a script there, there's a phone number there, there's an email address there. It's super easy. We need you to take that action right after you watch this video, after this video is completed.
At the end of this video, please,
if you take that action, then public opinion can sway this into favor of health freedom, into favor of having the kind of future that we want that's safer for us and our family. Now, Dr. Wakefield, two questions. The first question is, if someone has heard this for the first time, they don't know about you, they don't know about your work, they don't know about your documentaries, how do they get in touch with you? How do they keep track of what you're doing, and how do they support you?
I'm going to give you the last word to wrap this up.
I'm a filmmaker. I've made 3 films which really examine in great detail this issue of health freedom in the context of vaccinations and the violation of health freedoms by the pharmaceutical companies and by the federal agencies that are there to protect Americans. Ostensibly, that's what they should be doing. And so people can go to 1986theact.com, 1986theact.com, and there they can see those movies. They are extremely important because they provide us with an insight into where we are going in the future with this, because they distill
Click the link right now. Thank
you. The history of vaccination policy in this country and its corruption, not only by the industry, but by the federal agencies that are there to protect the health of Americans.
Lori here at 5:30.
Thank you, Dr. Wakefield. I so appreciate that. Folks, again, at the end of this video, please stop the video, click the link, take the actions, contact the 6 states, urge the elected officials in the 6 states to take the action I just described. You and I can turn this around. You and I must turn this around. Trump cannot, the Supreme Court cannot. It's up to us now. And on that link, you'll also see information on how to get to Dr. Wakefield's website, learn more about his documentaries and the work that he's doing, and please support what he is doing as well. Dr. Wakefield, thank you for your time today. I'm going to give you the last word to wrap this up. Please go ahead.
Raj, you and I did not come to this country, like many people, to lose the extraordinary freedoms that this country offers its citizens. That is unacceptable to us. And I have been motivated for most of my professional career by the notion of injustice. I will not stand by and see another child damaged by vaccines. I will not stand by and see a plethora of adults now damaged by experimental vaccines. People deserve health freedom. People have fought for health freedom. People have paid an extraordinary price, a huge sacrifice for health freedom. It must be preserved at all costs.